What's up, everyone? It's Schuyler, Callihan, Christopher Hall. It's the Mountaineer Postgame Show. West Virginia winner 73-55 of the TCU Horned Frogs, getting revenge from their early season loss, actually earlier this month, to the Horned Frogs out in Fort Worth. And let's go ahead and take a look here at the numbers. Javon Small is absolutely dynamite tonight. 23 points, 10 rebounds, hit 6 of 11 three-point attempts. Yesufu provided a spark off the bench with 14 points to go along with 6 boards. Trezarian White led the way for TCU with 11 points. And, Chris, I think the biggest thing out of this game, I'm going to lean towards defense, but I already know you're going to say, hey, they finally made shots. But the last time TCU and West Virginia played, Vashon Alette, Noah Reynolds, they combined for, 42, 43 points. Noah Reynolds had 2 points, and they both came from the free throw line. That was the biggest difference, I think, in these two matchups. But, yes, hitting shots definitely played a part in it. Javon Small, Joe Yesufu lit it up. 10 of the 11 threes came from those two guys tonight.
Hitting shots isn't really the reason they won. Hitting shots is why they won so big. And that really shows you what this team's capable of. Amani came into the game after consecutive double-doubles. Little slow night for him. 1 for 6 from 3-point range. Hit all his marks in the paint. But then you have Yesufu coming back after missing double digits last couple games. So Sencire Harris really sparking the defense early. Really sparked that run. I think he scored 7 of his 11 first half points during that run. So you're starting to see, Harris is just a sophomore. Amani is just a sophomore, but they're really starting to play like juniors right now. You're really starting to see these guys grow up.
Yep.
Here towards the end of the season, and that's exactly what you want from this group. Eduardo, Andre having a big night defensively. The one knock I have on Small is the 6 turnovers. Had some bad passes tonight, but when you have the ball that much, still ended with double 10 assists. So
and some of them weren't on him,
can't really knock him too much, but at the same time, again, he has the ball so much. Everything evolves around him offensively, and he has to spend a lot of time with the ball in his hand, whether it was setting screens, moving the offense around, and he's getting double teamed a lot. So the fact that I think this is a season high for him in turnovers, the fact it took this long for it to happen. I know Jamie Dixon hasn't really been happy with his defense. When you really think of Jamie Dixon led team, they're good defensively. They're just young right now, but they still play tough D. So to do that against a Jamie Dixon team says a lot about this group. Can't really, a little concern with them getting a 10-0 run there late to cut it to 9. But they didn't fold. They responded and really handled that 5 minutes. I think they held TC without a field goal the last 5 minutes. I think just 2 points as well came from the free throw line. So big contrast to what we've seen pretty much all Big 12 schedule. They haven't been able to really close out that last 5 minutes, and it's a complete flip tonight. And they really have to. That Yesufu hitting the corner, Small laying the first trip, setting up Yesufu in the corner. So starting to see them really put it together, and it's exactly what you need, especially when you're heading to Utah for a 4-day trip.
Yeah, I think the Javon Small thing, I've seen some other people talk about it too, but I mean, a couple of those, I would say probably not on him. The pass to Eduardo Andre underneath the basket, that should have been caught. I know it's a tough play to make, but you got to catch it. But
it was a little hot.
It's a little hot, but it's a play
you got to know your personnel. Make. That's not something that Andre's accustomed to.
Right.
Should he have caught it? Yeah, probably.
But I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is he made so many plays that probably don't happen if it weren't for him on the floor passing the ball. And I think some of that gets overlooked just because you see the turnovers. And he had 6 turnovers, but he made a lot of really good passes too that probably no one else on the floor on that team can make. So I think he probably took some chances tonight, probably got a little too careless at times, especially with that turnover when TCU was starting to apply their pressure. But I think he had a fine night, obviously. I think we could all agree with that. But I think the biggest difference that I saw tonight out of anybody is Sencire Harris. Offensively, this was his best game. I don't know if this was his season high. I can't imagine it would be, but maybe it is.
He was a point shy.
Yeah, but it just felt like he played more under control, which is kind of crazy for him because he just feels like somebody that just goes 100 miles an hour when he's got the basketball, and it's an adventure to watch him. But when he can settle in, play under control, attack the basket, get deep inside the paint, and either put up a shot or kick it out, that's when this offense can really start to flow because you have something going there where you're getting some rim pressure. When he's taking threes, when he's taking these low percentage mid range jumpers, that's not in his game. And I'm not saying he needs to completely eliminate it, but when he figures out that he can just play within himself, this is what I think you're going to get. This version of Sincere Harris, and I thought it was his best all around game tonight.
Yeah, he was really the energy from the outs from the beginning of the game. He's the one that provided the energy when it went 5-0, down 5-0. He was the one that provided energy on defense and got out in transition, and that's really where he's said that's really where he thrives. He can hit mid range jumpers. He's not, you know, Darren just talked. The Reed just talked about it after the game that he can make shots. It just he got off such to a bad start that it got in his head, and now you're starting to see him over the last couple of weeks play a little more freely. He's not thinking about it, he's just playing. Again, a lot of those guys, Akani as well, get them out in transition, let them attack for so long. They don't look as strong probably because they have so much length. They are strong and they can attack the rim. So at times I wonder if that's why they're not getting the contact around the rim, this calls
Yeah.
around the rim because I don't get why they don't get those calls. But yeah, he just got to continue attacking and just work inside out. I think that's really his best offense right now. Because when you see it fall when you attack the basket, then that little mid-range jumper can come and you feel a little more confident can go in. Because I do believe it's right within his game that he can hit those little jumpers. But I don't think that's where you want to start. I think just being in that attack mode, and then if they take it away, then settle for the jump shot. And I think he'll find more success when he does that.
A really interesting stat that I just happened to look at it, and I felt like he was quiet tonight, and he was. Jonathan Powell, no points, 0 of 1 from the field. For him to go only scoreless on the night, only take one shot, to me, that tells me two things. One, that means he wasn't pressing the issue because we've seen Jonathan shoot 5, 6, 7 shots before he finally gets one to fall, and that's okay. They want him to do that because he can hit those 3-point shots at a high clip. But he wasn't pressing the issue tonight. He wasn't going to take shots that weren't there. And secondly, for them to win a game by 18 points without one of their best 3-point shooters scoring is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, I think that's where Yesufu steps up, and he did. Powell, he's not going to hide from anybody at this point. Everybody knows he can shoot. I think TCU just did a really good job on him defensively. He got out of position a couple times early on defense. Got yelled at for it as well. May have taken him out a little bit. He played 23 minutes tonight, but as long as one of those guys can score, it doesn't have to be Powell. Again, Yesufu's really come along here this month. And that's exactly what you need. You need more guys stepping up. And when you have that mix of Javon who can attack and shoot from the outside, same with Yesufu and Amani's going, this team's tough. And again, when they're shooting over 50% and they're playing defense like that, they're going to be a really, really hard to team to beat. That's why DeVries always says, look, we have to rely on our defense because the shots aren't going to fall. But when they do, you get games like tonight. And that's a huge confidence. It's a lot of momentum heading to Utah. You just hope it doesn't get into their head. I think with only 17 wins in the season, they're not going to get overconfident heading out to BYU, especially since they lost to BYU and they battled against Utah here. So that's
Mhm.
again, despite them losing their coach, we've seen how many times have we seen this throughout college basketball. Team loses their coach, they rally and start playing for that coach and get on a little bit of hot streak. So to me, Utah's probably more dangerous without their coach right now because that can be a rallying
Josh
call for
Schuyler
them.
wants
So
it.
yeah, I'm sure Josh, would like to say, hey, I did this last year at West Virginia. Had to hold a team together with all the issues I did to scrape together 9 wins was damn near a miracle. So I'm sure he would like to finish strong, probably get a shot, actually take the interim tag off, and show that he can coach at this level. So don't want him to love to see him get some wins and get hot, but just not against West Virginia.
Speaking of BYU, as you mentioned, usually I wouldn't talk about teams, or the keys to the game for the next team because we haven't probably seen that team yet, but we've already seen BYU. It was a really good game. BYU is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, especially in the Big 12. In that first matchup, WVU almost had to go shot for shot with them to keep pace. I don't know if they can do that again. They shot the ball extremely well tonight. Is that something that can carry two straight games? I don't know, because it's something you can carry onto the road with you. I also don't know. BYU's playing really good basketball of late. What is it going to take for WVU to get the win at BYU on Saturday?
Defense. West Virginia just moved the mark to 16-3 when holding teams under 44% from the field.
Boom.
That's the number. And surprisingly, TCU was the only team from the Big
Yeah,
12 to
that's
beat West
true.
Virginia when held under 44%. So that's the mark. Got to play really good defense. BYU has been really, really, really good at home. They're on a 4-game winning streak. That includes the win over West Virginia and just coming off back-to-back wins over Kansas and at Arizona. So yeah, it's going to be. They play Arizona State this week, I believe. Yep, Arizona State. So yeah, it's all about defense. Yes, you have to make shots. You can't go and shoot 30%. I think their mark for the offense is around 45%. If you can keep them around 40% from the field, I think it gives you a really good chance to take care of the ball. I think one of the biggest issues that they've had, especially the last few minutes of the first half with the lead, or at the end of the game, they've really slowed down their pace of the offense, which kind of makes sense because you're trying to run a little bit of clock, but that's really where they've struggled. But I think at some point they're going to just have to make decisions to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't worry about running clock, just be aggressive because they haven't really been played well. When you only have Javon Small that can really beat somebody off the ball, when it comes down to last 5 seconds, that's really going to be the defense's focal point. It's Javon. So, yeah, in theory, another guy should be open, but who they leave open is the question. So, I think for them, they're just going to have to, run the offense for a full 40 minutes and really, really, really have a great defensive performance.
I'm with you with the defense, and I would also add rebounding. I mean, that's kind of been the theme here the last few games, as Darren mentioned in the
Did,
postgame
did,
once again.
did they
10 and
did they
0.
win the rebounding tonight?
Yes,
And
they
I
did.
wonder why. Because they made 52% of the shots.
The two do go hand in hand. So, but regardless, they are 10 and 0. They're undefeated when they do win the rebounding battle. Against BYU, they're minus 10 on the boards. They're also minus 9 in terms of free throw attempts. That's been a bit of an issue for West Virginia at times this season. So I think
And they
if you're,
got out rebounded bad against BYU, and I lost by 4.
yeah,
So
yeah, I mean, if
it's
you just
it's
compete on the
it's
glass,
just sometimes that little reach foul. Yes, there's going to be questionable calls. Yes, that's going to happen. I probably whine about it more than anybody out there. Schuyler can attest to this 100%. But at the same time, you're giving them opportunities with dumb things. So if you limit that and you just, again, you got to shoot around 45%. I think the rebounding will kind of handle itself because they have battled. And
you just can't get your ass kicked on the boards. That's the thing.
absolutely. And you got to limit those crucial second chance points. They're late in the game, but they battle. They're undersized. I think a lot of times they just kind of get sucked in a little too far under the basket, especially on 3-point attempts. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
they're just falling, and they're just the whole team's like sucked into the paint.
So there you have it. West Virginia 73, TCU 55. The Mountaineers now 17 and 11 on the season, 8 and 9 in Big 12 play. We'll have a few days off before heading out to Utah for the Utah two-step, beginning with BYU at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's another late tip. We've got a bunch of these.
I guess that's what we had at 9 o'clock here,
Yeah,
tip off time on a Tuesday, so they could prepare them for the 10
I
o'clock
guess.
Big 12 after. Hey, West Virginia's part of Big 12 after dark. Let's go. Good times.
Absolutely
Can't wait
hate
till
it.
it happens to football. When we're
Oh,
done at 4 in the morning.
yeah, that one of these trips out to Tucson or Tempe is going to be a 10:30 kick, and yeah, we're going to be wrapping up our post-game show at 3:30. So I'll make sure
Well, I'm just going to fly out there so I can be done by a normal time.
I'll make sure to set out my bacon and eggs out so that way we have it ready for afterwards. But that'll be it for us here tonight. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI, and give us a follow on X at SI_WVU. For Christopher Hall, I'm Callihan. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you here on Saturday to recap the Mountaineers and the Cougars.